to ban.
Liquid, I mean, you've said already that they have not had good results. Would a win be enough to push them, or at least much closer to that, to the opportunity for an invite, or is it just not enough?
A win guarantee, 100%.
100% guarantees
TI second, it depends how many invites there are. I want to say it's probably enough regardless.
Because considering the competition, right?
Yeah.
Considering who has been here in Moscow and just how close it will be to the international.
And that's maybe a little bit less pressure on this match itself.
Right.
Especially for EG, who are more or less a lock for TI. So I think there's like an exhaustion, there's some level of maybe nerves going in, but I don't think there's going to be like a pressure like you have to win. It's not like the pressure playing at a TI or one of the majors.
I'm sure there's no doubt that Liquid have had the chat saying, if you really want to know that we're going, pick up the win here. Pick this up, know you've got the guaranteed ticket. And so we start the draft and already change up. Crystal Maiden has been taken away from Crit.
That is itself a rather interesting move. The last game, EG had first pick. They first picked the Trian, they won. And this game, Liquid has first pick. All the bans are the same. They did not go for the Trian, but they do put a lot more focus on getting a hero like CM. And both of the teams like to run the hero too. So it tells us that Liquid is not afraid about the Trian at all, even though they did not do well against it last game.
Yeah, Crystal Maiden has been and is featured amongst the 3 heroes that they most picked. In fact, it's quite interesting. Look at Liquid's current 3 heroes on the right side of the screen. The 2 banned and the first picked are EG's most played heroes. They're taking them away from them in one way or another.
Well done, Alex. Well done. Good observation.
This is not observation. This is just me reading a spreadsheet.
And who are they going to pair it with? Darkseer to open it.
Ooh.
So removes one of the counters against Tree, whilst giving them potential dual lane. Kind of a good opening.
Yeah, awful lane for CM. You don't want anywhere near the lane. Trian plus Darkseer. I mean, the main thing is like you don't want to give away the Darkseer when you have Trian. So I think that's partly one of the bigger reasons why you pair those 2 heroes together.
Oh. Winter will be happy.
Liquid will try their hand at it.
It was EG's first game's opening, right? CM Bristleback.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is like if you do a BB safe lane, because but I'm not saying they will do it. Like they can do it in all 3 lanes, but BB can actually absorb the pressure that the Darkseer and Trian throws at you. This is the good thing about Bristleback. You can lane him anywhere, and you can put him in the lane that has the most amount of pressure. And he's just going to be fine in the lane. He doesn't farm as much, but it's very difficult for the enemy to push him out of the lane and etc. It's a good hero to be placed against a pressure lane. That's why BB is such a good pick nowadays in the current meta. Because you often see all these kind of like very annoying lanes, very hard to deal with, and BB is the perfect hero for that.
BB, your baby. Co-op taken away from Samao.
I wonder if that means EG might ban the Lone Druid.
Bloodseeker ban again, because they have the Darkseer.
10 seconds remaining.
But EG, I mean, it's interesting to see this ban again, because so now we've seen this ban, twice already? Twice or three times. And Liquid has picked the hero up like 1 time in the previous series. So like EG sees this hero as a threat. This hero is a hero that, if not dealt properly, he can do a lot in the fights. And you can't really predict how much he can do as well, because the hero can do a lot, but he can also die very easily. Very volatile hero.
Kind of interesting to see the Quap and the Lone Druid bans traded for one another. It feels like their whole purpose was to cover one another. So now that they both ban it, they both lose a ban.
Yep, and Liquid bans the Sven as well. Sven is really good against the Bristol. They are the teams that picked up the hero against the Bristol in the first game. And the enemy does have Darkseer. Darkseer Sven is very good combination together.
Still Razor in the pool, which was like what banned out in the second stage in at least game 1. Something that's been played against the Bristleback, played in Arteezy's hands and Sumail's.
I would say probably harder to play against Sven than Razor as a Bristol.
Yep.
I mean, it's quite annoying as well because of the unstable current. Then you don't really want to go him. Then you get slowed all the time. But EG just going all mass team fight. Vacuum, Warlock, Ultimate, Fatal Bond.
Earth Shaker.
It's going to help a lot against the Bristleback lane.
That was a quick draw.
That was really quick. They knew what they wanted, and Drow is a hero that is really good against Bristleback. Because in the laning phase itself, the cold arrows, the silence, all the tools that Drow has is very, very good against Bristol, and you're a hero that can always have the option of building a Silver Edge. So all in all, Drow is very, very good against Bristol.
You previously have described Drow games as lots of early damage, lots of early success. You've also previously highlighted that Tree and Darkseer are very scary in the lane. Suggesting EG are going to have some early game dominance here, Kevin?
It's definitely possible. They could just move Tree around, put him in the safe lane at start, maybe kill Bristle once, go to the off lane. Pretty much anywhere Tree goes, he's going to be useful.
EG should have the advantage in the off lane and the mid lane for sure. The question for the Drowse lane is how much do they contest the Drowse lane? Like a Tree and Darkseer should be able to put a lot of pressure on, and the mid hero with Precision Aura should be able to win their lane as well.
But the tough part is you don't know what Liquid's lanes are yet. Could be Earthshaker off lane. Mind Control's been playing that a lot, but Miracle also played it mid.
I mean, the thing is like they are not sure, but their lanes right now are looking pretty solid. Warlock, Drow, Darkseer, Treant, they're all very solid lanes on its own.
Lycan pick here that can perhaps run and charge down the Drow range and
Anyone gonna do the hand clap thing? Tumba's favorite hero, man.
No,
he's smiling. Look at me.
Smiling.
I mean, the hero is actually in theory very good against Drow because you just like Drow is very weak against gap closers, and Lycan is a fantastic gap closer.
But overgrowth from Treant is really good against Lycan too. It's like one of the best ways to stop him from moving around.
But if they do like have a good early game, Lycan pulls ahead. I can see Lycan being like all over the place and Drow can be very hard pressed to find any solutions against that.
Will Liquid use their 5th ban? Or will they fall into Secret's trap? The no 5th ban.
That's the
strategy. You want to ban the OD again? OD versus Bristle always seems very good. Gives you a save, gives you good damage output.
It's true. It's good with Drow Aura.
But that was the hero they ran that one time against Secret when there was a Bristle on the playing field. OD versus Lycans should be fine as well, I want to say.
Can see a Liquid fan there.
That's interesting.
EG fan.
They banned out the Enchantress. So even though Enchantress wasn't successful the last game, but Enchantress is a hero that's very good against the Drow. You want to mess with her lane early. You don't want her to just farm, get her levels, and the pace of the game would be really quick. So EG is more or less only worried about heroes that can slow the Drow down, hence the last ban Enchantress. And they're also worried about a push because Lycan Bristol could easily be a very quick game.
I do love that when you look over Liquid, every draft there is a full-on democracy. Every single person is inputting there. We saw Mind Control to Matumba to Miracle to Kuroki.
So do they? I mean, we're basically looking at a 4 position here. There's still potential.
Shaker, GH has played Shaker before.
Shaker could be 4 position. But I mean, I think they could, if they want to, they could do this Shaker 4 position Bristle off lane, Lycan safe lane, pick another mid. Basically, the Shaker just goes level 1. You fissure the off lane, so the Bristle gets. Even though it's a bad matchup against Drow, but if you can ensure that Bristle gets some farm, the fissure will make sure that the Bristle gets level 2, bare minimum. Then the lane could be okay for Bristle. So I could see that working for Liquid.
That's probably the discussion they're having at this point as well.
I mean, they have a lot of options with their 4 heroes right now. A lot of different ways to set up their draft, different lanes. So it's all about what they want to do right now. So I can understand why they're taking a long time here. They need to be able to find out what's best for the team and what's best against the enemy.
And of course, I mean, we talked about it before, it bears repeating. How much does player preference play a part in these huge discussions, these grand final drafts?
Probably doesn't matter as much.
It's a bit though, like we saw on True Side, like when it comes down to like that mid, like right now, like if you're asking who do you want to ban mid, you're likely asking Miracle, like who do you not want to verse?
Right, it is, like, that's the player preference.
I think that's a big part of it. And I think similarly, it's like when you want to pick a hero for your mid, you're asking them if you think it's a good hero for this game, because they know, like Miracle knows, is this a good Invoker game? Probably better than Kuro does. He's the one who plays Invoker all the time, and he has a good feel whether these are heroes he wants to play the hero against.
He's made the call. The infamous Invoker will once again enter the battlefield.
I do like it this game. There's sort of weak disables from EG, and he's got a ton of wave clear. He's got really good late game team fight, which they kind of need to offset some of what like Warlock, Darkseer, Treant bring out. I think it's a good pick here. And he's going to have extra mana from CM. Maybe a little hard to Sunstrike. It's basically Frostbite or Shaker combos only, but I think it can work.
So what other good laners are there available against Invoker?
Is it too crazy to go TA against Lycan Bristle?
I'm thinking TA, but TA doesn't feel... I mean, he's good. He has a good matchup, but doesn't feel like good for the game.
True.
I mean, there's okay.
Wow. Oh wow.
Ooh.
Retro.
Haven't seen that in a long time, but it's a combo. That's what NP likes to do a lot in the past with MP Warlock plus Mirana combo. Aghanims Mirana with the Fatal Bonds.
I mean, in the past we saw some serious Sumail Mirana. Not in a while though.
I'm actually not very convinced with the Mirana. I'm more convinced with the Bristol, the Lycan, the brutal heroes.
Winter, have you ever predicted against a Bristleback? I'm trying. I think once in your life you've predicted against a Bristle.
No, never.
Never? Oh my god. You're the biggest fanboy in Dota. Let's see what you got though. I'm just clarifying. You are predicting Liquid.
Yes.
Faith in the Bristle, his Bristle baby, Bristle Bay. Gods.
I'm gonna stick with Winter. I think faith in the Bristle, but also in Miracle's Invoker. I think this is a game where he should be able to do incredibly well.
I'm going to agree. I'm going to cast a curse it and give EG the win by saying Liquid will win this. No problem.
So we've got Mr. Superstitious, we've got Bristles Bay. Oh, it's been an adventure so far, and it's only going to get more exciting now. Someone of Liquid and EG will take the lead and be one game away from the grand final and that trophy. Let's find out with your casters though. Odie, Pixel, and Malenia waiting in the wings.
Thank you very much, Alex. And indeed, a very warm welcome back to you all watching at home for this Game 3 of the Grand Finals here at Epicenter 2017. Liquid EG's 1-1 at the moment. We've seen the draft, Ben. EG trying to bring back the Mirana Warlock combination. As we look over at Liquid, they've got something pretty standard. Miracle Invoker, Matuma Man Lycan. Are you confident in EG's draft? Because it didn't seem like the panel worked.
Nope. We're all going to curse it.
Damn.
4 for Liquid.
So why not? What is it that you don't like about what EG's trying to do this game?
I think Drow's going to suffer a lot. I don't think they have the lineup to take enough towers in the early and mid game because they don't have that scaling offlaner. They have Darkseer in this game. Every other time that they run the Drow Ranger, I believe, they've had the Puck in the offlane. Puck wins his lane badly and can also scale pretty well. You get the 420 GPM, you have a lot of right-click damage. You can push towers by yourself. Darkseer is more of that team fight hero and isn't going to scale as well. And like vacuum combo on a hero like Bristleback doesn't care. They have counter initiation too with the Earthshaker. They have good high ground stall with the Invoker. I'm a big fan of Liquid's draft over EG's in this game.
I mean, can you see why EG would go for that final pick Mirana this game? Again, another different hero for Sumail?
So you want a ranged scaling mid that right clicks. So TA was already taken out. OD might struggle a lot this game, just because I don't think they have like a good frontliner on EG so that he can already hit. I think that Mirana is different.
How are you going to build in that? So you're saying you're looking for the right click. Do you still build the Aghanims?
You can right click later because you have the leap attack speed.
So so you still get the Aghanims in the starting phases of the build?
It's like a different version of Lina, I would say, because you do a lot of magic damage early on. I don't know if he's going to go for the Scepter build. I have seen like the Lance build without Scepter a lot more often, but it does combo a lot better with the Fatal Bonds. Fatal Bonds on an Ag Starstorm is redonkulous.
I mean, I guess the other question really is with the Drow Mirana and such, is it possible that EG can win their lanes as hard as sort of Liquid did in game 1 to the point where the Bristleback isn't an issue because of the pace that EG could get started early on with the Drow aura?
Well, Drow is versus Bristle, an annoying lane for Drow Ranger, but it's not complete free farm for Drow. Invoker versus Mirana, I would say slightly Mirana favorite because of Drow Ranger aura. Darkseer versus Lycan, that's, I would say it should be fine for the Lycan because they have the support. So I would say it's overall a wash or pretty close to a wash. I can't see it going more than like 65-35, one side or the other in the first little bit of the laning phase.
I know we have it. Liquid's lineup. Definitely some heroes to be incredibly wary of, and of course, Miracle Invoker, something that can get shut down, but can bring himself back into the game. So we'll see what EG's answer and solution will be to what Liquid are bringing to the field this game.
It's all about that tree.
It is.
Tree is the early game dominator in here. Tree's already a menace in the early game. Combine that with Ion Shell, he can take a lot of the pressure off the Drow Ranger. He can maybe mess up Invoker's game or mess up Lycan's game to the point where EG can snowball ahead with the Drow.
And you see the lane matchups that we are going to get. We are going to have EG going aggressive, so looking towards that top lane, but in response, Liquid will change their lanes up. They're going to make sure that the Bristleback's up there to tank the tri-lane and have Matumba farming down on the bottom.
He didn't hit the range creep.
In fact, now, GH, he's going to get the courier. He just walks in and he just gives it a whack. And in fact, Sumail may be in trouble as well. He's been cornered off by the Fisher, walks into the Sunstrike as Miracle beautifully predicts his movement. And that mid lane is not off to a great start. Well, that may be a bit of an understatement, Ben, for Sumail.
Damn, that Sunstrike.
Courier and First Blood going to Liquid.
Watching good Sunstrikes versus good players is always a sight to behold. That was cool. If you were against a bad player, you would never cast Sunstrike there.
Absolutely not. And Miracle knew that the sidestep was going to be coming up and down the river's width, and absolutely nails it.
Well, that's a 1,500 gold they won in and in. First Blood Courier.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Look at that goldie. That is, that is scary. A minute and a half in, bam, just like that. It just goes to show, there really is so much worth in bringing down the Courier. Gives a huge financial boost to your team.
And just shutting down Sumail. So they will actually switch lanes up a little bit. I did see Bristol start off on the bottom, but thinking that Bristol is going to have a better time up top. What is the matchup? Oh, yeah. So they want to be able to pressure the Drow Ranger, it looks like, but...
It's just the Drow and the Warlock and Arteezy up on top lane at the moment. As we have, for the time being, EG with these dual lanes of sorts. Zai down bottom, looking to keep some extra tabs onto Matumba Man alongside Universe. And mid lane, Sumail has still been able to find the CS, regardless of being taken down there in that First Blood. 9 for 4 against the 11 for 5 of Miracle.
This is great for Kuro, because when you see this early game happen, you get First Blood and you get a chicken kill, that means that you don't really have to do that much. You can farm on, get level 3, get her Arcane Aura up, and there's not that much pressure on Liquid this game. This early game should already be smooth sailing.
Look at this down bottom here. GH comes in with a Fisher block off as Zai tries to get himself away. In comes the Enchant Totem. GH, one more slap, not going to do it. Fairy Fire is there from Zai. He will keep himself alive. Liquid unable to find the kill, but at the same time, GH coming in just at the right time when things started to look a little hairy for Matumba Man.
Roaming Shaker's incredibly difficult to play, by the way, because Fisher doesn't do that much damage, and he's like with a melee hero, and it's very difficult to block off in some of the lanes nowadays. So I'm surprised that he's been able to do so much in the early game. They did buff his Enchant Totem at level 1, so that certainly helps a little bit, but GH has been spot on with the roam, with the totem. That didn't rhyme.
I nearly did.
I tried.
Mid lane, Miracle getting a bit heavier with the pressure onto this tier 1. Having that slight lead, which is certainly good news for him, especially seeing as Sumail does have that aura to try and help him out. Zai will reveal himself, go for a quick lead seed.
He has the Force Spirit in front to block off.
No way to land an arrow onto the hero, of course. He'll throw it out nonetheless to get rid of the Forge Spirit. But Miracle keeping himself very safe and very hard, really, for EG's heroes to gank. We saw their Zai comes across. Even if you're adding a Warlock into that equation, very unlikely you get that kill unless Sumail does hit a freak arrow.
And slow is good for Liquid. You want the pace of the game to be relatively slow, a lot of farm, not that much pushing on either side, and just take it the pace that you want to. And EG, on the other hand, they need to be able to push out lanes aggressively, take down a lot of T1s, and eventually take the Roche away from the Lycan and give it to the Drow Ranger.
Mid lane, GH. Getting in with the wraparound, but Sumail keeping his distance, so more than fine. Definitely something to talk about, though, Ben. On this top lane, Arteezy is having a brilliant time, and Mind Control is struggling immensely. He's only got 8 CS on this Bristleback compared to the 27 of Arteezy in this top lane. Did you expect him to sort of lose out on the lane that badly early on?
Well, Crit's been parked himself the entire time up there, so I think that has a lot to do with it. Keep in mind that Sumail has had 0 help in the mid lane aside from 1 rotation from the tree, but Crit has been in this lane the entire time, and I think it's only going to get worse once Arteezy gets 6. That marksmanship armor is huge.
It feels like Arteezy just hasn't missed a creep up it. CS absolutely on point.
It's a tough lane because you don't have Goo this early, so there's no way for you to close the gap in between the Bristle and the Drow.
Yeah, unless Kuro gets involved, and you can see him trying to keep some sort of backup there behind Mind Control. It's very hard for them to make the move, as you said, with Crit Shadow Word Heal being enough to overpower the damage that comes out from Liquid in this top lane. Mid lane, Miracle still making sure that that lead gets bigger and bigger. 36 against the 22 of Sumail.
They never know where GH is. He can also just keep stacking up the Ancients. He's doing that right now while still hanging around mid.
Oh, and it... so close to being brilliant there, but the Sunstrike slightly off with the prediction, trying to catch him post-sleep. It was a good attempt, but not good enough there for Miracle. Sumail will survive.
Well, if there's a game for Sumail to be scared, it's definitely this game, where he has had an atrocious start despite having Drow Aura and has almost been caught out twice now by the Sunstrike. And pretty difficult to predict places.
Yeah, especially against a hero like Mirana with that good move speed and that leap. Very tricky to catch out.
At least Mirana has an Arcane Rune, so she can kind of catch back up here. Still, Ancients being stacked again and again on the side of Liquid. GH making continuous round trips to Old Shrine.
I mean, top lane, they really do want to do something about Arteezy's been keeping fantastic control of the lane here with Crit, and now the wraparound comes through. GH lands the Fish of the Frostbite, the Sunstrike, more than enough to bring him down. Crit will try and get himself back to safety, but it's not going to happen. Enchant Totem there to cancel the TP, and GH, the gentleman, lets Mind Control get the final touch for the kill on the Bristleback.
So he prevented a kill on Matama Man on bottom. He killed Sumail once in the mid lane, and he also killed top lane. So he's really won all 3 lanes while stacking the Ancient. That's incredible.
GH on that Shaker. As you said, it is not easy, but GH is certainly making it look like that mid lane. Indeed, Sumail will have to leap over the Fisher. Does still have to be careful of Miracle's right click. Tries to man up here. Again, goes for the prediction with the Sunstrike, but will be off point. So Sumail able to survive this rotation.
The next level, just stand in place.
It seems to be the play here for Sumail. Can't read your mind if you don't think. Top lane. Zai getting closed in upon. Mind Control and Kuroki see a chance. No, he's alone. And they will take him down. So Mind Control, even though he's suffered in the CS, starting to scale up now with some good kill involvement, thanks to GH and Kuroki.
All right, so when is EG's time to shine? They have the Warlock, but the thing is, Rock's okay, but Liquid don't have to fight them. They can always get information with the Lycan Wolves, and then they can also just park in front with a Bristleback. How do you push towers with this farmed Bristleback who's going to be able to take this Ancient stack and just buy a Vanguard and just sit right in front of the tower? It's very problematic for them.
Very tough.
And on top of that, at this pace, Earthshaker's going to have a pretty good Blink Dagger timing.
How are we seeing on GH at the moment?
He has 500
He's got
gold.
500. He's starting the climb, yeah.
He's already won the lane, so now the cores can create space for him. In the early game, supports create space for the cores. Later game, cores, or in this right immediately past the laning phase, the cores can create space for the supports by farming up jungle or pressuring towers. Almost has those treads. That's a sad life. He was farming well. You mentioned our tour had a lot of last hits, but these Ancient stacks coming in, they're give me some of that XP.
This pretty much just makes that laning stage redundant for Mind Control. He may have suffered there, but this is going to be a huge boost to get him back in, as you said.
They can't even get any experience.
Yeah, they can't come close.
Oh no.
So Liquid getting another successful objective, and indeed just maintaining that very healthy lead at this stage of the game. 9 minutes and around a 4K net worth lead for Liquid. 4-0 on the board as well.
You thought Ancient stacking was over. Nuh-uh.
Absolutely not. And there we have it, GH the man himself. 6 stacks so far, and a lot of those being Ancients.
I didn't even see who stacked the bottom Ancients. Maybe he stacked it with a Wolf or something like that. I'm not sure, but yeah, that's the thing. GH won all 3 lanes and stacking both Ancients. I thought it was one Ancient. I was already pretty impressed.
This is insane. There's never any downtime for GH, that's for sure. Bottom lane, EG opening up onto Matumba Man. GH moving into position, making sure that they do hold back, but now he's been caught out by a Gust. Now the upheaval starting to slow him down. Zai does land the root, but Liquid are going to come in and try and fight in return. They'll keep GH safe. The dust is out. Zai has been trapped up by the wolves, and Liquid are the ones to make the play down here, despite EG's best efforts. May not be done yet as well as Matumba closing in onto Arteezy. Mind control as well, ready to make sure that the gap is closed. The first goo is out. Is the Shadow Work going to be enough to save him? Ooh, it is! I can't believe he got out of that. He gets himself away. Arteezy will survive. Crit, maybe the one to attack this. No, he'll try for the TP as well. Is he going to be as successful? He is. TP Scrolls being the name of the game here for EG as they keep two of them alive.
Sunstrikes ideally should have come out during the TPs. That's probably the only thing I can fault Liquid for in this early game. They probably should have had a Drow kill, which would have slowed the entire lineup a lot, because the supports can farm a lot better, or at least the Warlock can when you have the Drow aura. But Sumail trying his best to defend this tower.
He's come in and cleared the wave and forced Matumba Man back, but immediately Liquid are there. Sumail will try for the TP. Kuro can't get quite in range for a Frostbite. So again, another TP out from EG, as they seem to be very good at running away.
Greatest strength.
Top lane. The two of them who are down to run away, Universe and Zai, want to get stuck in. They've got their eyes onto GH. GH again with the Aftershock trying to hold them back. Universe looking for the body blocks, bringing them down with the Iron Shell, but the body blocks aren't to be successful. There's going to be a TP coming through, but it does end up being cancelled. But it looks like GH is safe nonetheless.
When Darkseer is ganking, you know that things aren't going well, because usually you just want to farm your mech and then push. But they are not in that place right now. They're not in the good spot.
GH just desperately looking for any sort of fight that they could try and come out on top of.
GH getting ran at by Zai with an Ion Shell.
Here we go. This looks to be the kill for EG as they'll come through with a final punch. Same time though, Liquid making sure that they still find something in response. Tier 1 taken down in the middle lane, as they do not hold off this pressure that they have been keeping up since the very early stages of this game.
Yes, and now the Drow Ranger feels stifled, as does the rest of the EG lineup. Sumail getting closed in upon.
Does have the Moonlight Shadow. See if they have the detection. They do. Fisher there as the sentries dropped along with the Sunstrike straight into Sumail's cranium, as the Mirana is shattered.
You made that sound very painful.
Oh, it looked painful, Ben. Everything to bring him down there. And it certainly seems that the worries of the panel are already becoming evident with these drafts.
Yeah, EG just need to open up the map a little bit more, get Drow Ranger a little bit more farm, get the Scepter up on Mirana, but she has 0 of the 4 pieces required to complete that Ags. So it might be a long way before Sumail's actually able to accelerate his farm. And he is number 6 in net worth. The lowest of the core is never a place you want to be. So now they can start to group up. They finally have the Warlock ult online and the Overgrowth, so it's a good time for them to take a fight. This is one of their biggest power spikes that they are going to get in the game. Unfortunately, they don't have a T1 to fall back on, and there's a ward behind them.
It's a risky. I mean, yeah, Liquid, they know exactly what's coming for them here in this middle lane, and they have the ults to respond. They've got both Freezing Field and Echo Slam to play back into EG's hands. RTZ trying to lead in onto Mind Control. Arrow won't connect. They'll look to turn to put the pressure onto the tower, but Liquid, they are just using the 3 of them to hold it off. The same time, Matumba Man just getting free farm up on the top lane. And this is Liquid just getting much more out of the map than EG are with this 5-man attempt down the middle, but not achieving anything for the time being.
They just need to kill this wave. If they kill this wave, the push is over. And, okay, wave's dead, push is over, they're done. This first attempt to group up by EG has failed miserably, while the 2 side laners for Liquid. So nothing really happened, but there was a 1,000 net worth gain for Liquid just because of them being able to push out the lanes. And now EG, they need to reset, they need to push out both of the other lanes so that they can do something on the map.
They've got to farm up to some sort of an item. As you said, if Sumail can speed up that Axe, it would be brilliant for the side, but it's still such a long way away. Bottom lane, GH has a haste. It's going to come in and, okay. In fact, with the straight up Echo and such, it's maybe a little overestimating the damage output they had there, but I mean, Universe was kind of like, what was that?
Maybe you hope that living armor was down at that point.
I don't think it was. Would it have been enough for our living armor? It didn't look that. No, as in if the living armor wasn't there, would he have actually died? No.
But it's still a good. He doesn't have a blink, so it's not like he's going to use the Echo, but it looks like he is about to die here.
Yeah, he's going to pay for this one. Zai comes back in with Universe, and Universe says, haha, you try and kill me, I'll bring my big brother, and we will kill you.
Yeah, notice no way that he was able to survive that one.
In lane, jump forward from Samael. Miracle trying to get in position for the combo, but a quick gust from Arteezy holds Invoker back for a couple of seconds. Liquid are still wanting to chase this down though. Mind control on the front lines. Universe has got the combo. See what they can do here with the chaotic offering as well if Liquid do group up, but again, Liquid being very careful with their positioning.
So Liquid's mindset right now is we don't have to fight them. They have to fight us. They have to come to us. They have to push our towers. And right now, EG are just not up to the call right now because they know that they could easily get wiped despite having all these teamfight ultimates because they fell so far behind in the early game.
Oh, Miracle. Tornado up to the high ground, gets two in the combo. Crit and Zai left high and dry. Zai's down. Crit trying to hide up, but the sentry's down. They've got vision upon him. Sunstrike's there from Miracle as he picks him up as well. Two dead on EG.
This observer ward right here to the southeast of the Ancient Legion, seeing this time and time again because it's very hard to de-ward and you get almost as good vision as that high ground ward. And this will be the call for Liquid. That's a tough fight for EG to take. They didn't even get a chance to cast their ultimates right there. Two supports just deleted.
Caught in the combo, Miracle. Miracle, as we can see, 9K and 9K net worth. Very early on in the game, 16 minutes, a big lead between him and well, the net worth that they have on the side of EG. Around the 6K mark, Arteezy and 5.3 for Samael at the moment.
Oh no, he has Ags already.
Yeah. At this pace, we could see Miracle doubling the net worth of Samael. Top lane though, Arteezy does find potential for a solo kill. Looks to Gus, GH backwards. In fact, GH is just fogging him. He can't get the vision to finish off the Shaker kill, and now Arteezy could be in trouble. He has got his friends on his way over, but mind control's there on the front lines. Echo Slam this time, it will be enough with the Sunstrike to bring down Artur. Zai's trying to come back in. They do get the three-man golem. GH won't be able to hold them back with the enchant totem as he will fall. Kuroki with the freezing field. They tried to cancel it with the arrow there, but the creep's blocking it, causing Zai to fall to the damage. Now Samael trying to DP out in the middle of the tree line, but they have the vision. Cold Snap's there. Samael dropped as well. And again, it's EG trying to fight despite losing Arteezy at the start of it. At the same time, bottom lane, Matuma Man, he's claiming a tier 2. And it really just seems that Liquid are able to do twice the amount of work this early game as EG are.
They don't even really even like him. That's
they don't.
A great part.
He just pops the howl and he says, "There we go, boys. That's my team fight contribution."
Yep. Ideally, that's what you want to do as a Drow Ranger too. You want your team to be able to 4-on-5 without you, and then you push out some towers. But they're in such a bad position right now that they need the Drow Ranger to make plays, have some sort of damage. And Arteezy go for more of a split push build. The Silver Edge, yeah, it's good versus the Bristleback, but I also think it enables him to hopefully not die around the map. I think the big problem is that Liquid have an overabundance of detection because of the Treant protectors, so the Silver Edge not likely going to save him in many fights to come.
Definitely damage limitations, and of course, going full out the Silver Edge, lacking any sort of early agi items such as the Asher or sort, so the extra damage won't be there for Samael. And they need everything they can get, EG, because they're without their ultimates, without that chaotic offering, they're running out of damage that they can throw down in these team fights. And in fact, Arteezy in trouble. That ward still there. EG never de-warded it. They have got the Shadow Blade. Do they have detection yet? Dust is going to clip him. Living Armor out upon him. Is it enough to keep him alive? But with the Gust back and the Overgrowth, it looks like they'll give Arteezy a bit more time. Matumba chasing it down. Surge is there from Universe. Arteezy will be saved this time round.
Luckily for EG, the only thing that Liquid is missing right now is a Blink Dagger on GH. If he has a Blink Dagger, that is a dead Drow Ranger.
I mean, one more tier 1, and the money will pretty much be there for GH. So they're going to hold this one off. They've got the Living Armor. Liquid with the full 5-man, eyeing up this top lane. EG have to be careful how they come forward to do any sort of a defense. And I'm pretty sure they'll choose to remain hidden, and indeed they will. As Liquid are allowed to take another tower from the map, keeping this tempo up. 19.5 minutes in, 10,000 net worth lead. You see, again, I mean, tier 2. Do EG want to do anything? They don't. They realize now they have to try and split up and farm. As Liquid have been earlier, they still have Arteezy working down the middle lane, and Samael on the bottom trying his best to climb towards that Aghanims. Now they've got to come back though. Pressure's onto the high ground. Liquid moving on to tier 3s. Sumail and Artur, they have to come back eventually. Sumail now TP's home. Arteezy will stay in the middle lane. Says the aura is all I'm offering in this team fight, boys. And that may just be enough. Sumail's presence starting to slow the pressure down. Liquid struggling to fight through the living armor, but now they see a chance. Crit around by the shrine, won't pop it, doesn't need to now, it comes through. Universe says keep yourself healthy. Off the shrine now, the combo coming in with the back wall, but in response GH jumps forward with the Echo Slam. Sumail tries to leap away, but Liquid, they're kept alive. The combo just isn't enough. Even with the multi-man vacuum and chaotic offering, they just can't bring Liquid down. They stay alive, EG to fall. Drow has to buy back into this one. They'll finally catch Matumba on the retreat of it all. They need something big. They need a huge cleanup here, EG. They tried to find mind control. It's not enough damage. The male jumped forward for it. Rules here onto Miracle. Miracle now turning, trying to finish off Zai. Zai on the way up to the high ground, jukes out the tornado. Miracle turns around with the deafening blast. Sumail caught out. The Sunstrike is going to connect. No! The lead just in time to keep Sumail safe. Arteezy again holding back Liquid with the 3-man Gus. Again, a very scrappy fight, but EG do hold. They keep the tier 3 alive, they force Liquid back, and they get a big kill in the sense of Matumba, but it did cost them that buyback on Arteezy, so his farm again will be hindered.
Just when you thought all hope was lost for EG, they pull one out of the hat. Finally, they get the Ags up on the Mirana, so now they can actually start farming, pushing out lanes a little bit more aggressively. Yeah, it looks pretty bad, but
it's looking a little better though for EG. But I mean, if they had that Ags in that last fight, that would have definitely been a triple kill of sorts for Sumail. They did get low after that initial burst, Liquid. They just needed something else, EG, and now they've got it.
And they have the T3 still up, so they can heal up with Tree. Yeah. Shrines still aren't down, and that was the Aegis push coming out from Liquid. So EG just bought themselves another 5 to 10 minutes on the timeline.
Crucial so they hope. But Liquid, they're straight ready to get back into it.
Oh no, the Warlock ult is not up.
This is the time for Liquid to try and find a catch onto EG outside the base. But EG, they realize this, they're playing safe. Sumail, the only one showing down on the bottom lane with this push, as the rest of Evil Geniuses hold on to their high ground and make sure they're not caught out by this. They may have to let this tier 2 go, but the next tier 3 push is going to be again when things get tricky for Liquid. I say that though, Miracle, he actually finds the 2-man combo here on the high ground, just brings down Zai. And just like that, one hero less to worry about. Liquid finish off the tier 2, and now they're ready to go in again. How long are we seeing to the chaotic offering? That really is the big one that they need for this high ground defense, as Liquid, knowing that it's not there, are able to be pretty brash with their push. They bring the tier 3 down, Alacritying up, Bristle back, EG bringing the full 5-man back for this hold. Can they keep them off? They need to keep that tier 3 alive so they can buff it back up with the living armor. Miracle looking for the opening, catches the tornado again onto 2. But the push certainly proving to be a little more difficult now for Liquid. Now the chaotic offering is back online. They've got to be so careful how they commit Liquid. They can't afford to lose another fight. In fact, an arrow thrown onto mind control could be the perfect opening hit for EG. They'll vacuum back further in towards the base, but he's still able to get himself back out. They're grouped up, Liquid. Zai starting it off with the overgrowth. Again, the Meteor drop down. Now the chaotic offering comes out in response, but GH is in there. Straight up to the high ground. Echo Slam onto 2. They'll look for the Sunstrike onto Sumail. It's not quite enough damage. Kuro, freezing field, cancelled by the Gust from Arteezy. As again, no one to fall, but EG are holding on to this high ground, and Liquid, they've got to give it second thoughts. They need something else. They need, it feels like another item now at this stage, because EG have got to this point where they can get this sort of a lock on the game where they don't let Liquid get up to the high and take down the tier 3s.
But they can just try and go again. Liquid are adamant about taking down this T3 early on in the game and hitting EG while they're still weak. 15,000 gold is something that's not super easy for Liquid to triumph, though.
I like this, though. EG, they're leaving the base. Let's see what they can get out of this. Liquid might not suspect this, knowing that the offering has already been used, but in fact, well, GH with this invis, he spotted out any sort of plan from EG, and they're going to be able to punish as Zai caught out by that Invis Rune Earthshaker, and GH jumping forward, drops down the sentry, eyes onto Arteezy, but not the lockdown to commit. But nonetheless, Liquid just making sure that EG realize that this is still a very scary game for them to leave the base.
the tree. He still hasn't healed at this T3, so Liquid are going to be very pleased to see that the tower's at 70% once they poke up this high ground.
Yeah. And this is, you know, the point where there's a BKB now up on Matuma Man. He can just solidly commit to bringing down these structures. And there's no chaotic offering for quite some time. Quick pause here before Liquid's able to see if they can get a successful high ground siege off this time. And they certainly have the position to do so.
He nailed that staircase.
There we go. Mind control. The front lines. Crimson Guard out. TZ trying to push them back, but against the Bristle, very much a tickle. Sumail actually leaps down to the low ground here. Will be cold snap, and that gives Liquid the chance to finish off the tier 3 in the middle. Matuma Man trying to lock in on towards EG, but EG now with Zai back alive, living armor there. They'll hold off. So Liquid again, they're being much more careful with the way that they push in. Not looking to throw everything in, as they know that they can keep a strong hold on the game now. With the tier 3s taken down, they look towards the shrines. They know they've got an edge. They know they've got this massive net worth lead, and they're making sure that they do not throw it away.
Smoke out coming out from EG immediately. There is no Warlock Rock Glide. They do not care. They know they have to do something before this next rush, or it is likely GG.
Let's see what they can find. Oh, is it going to be a smoke and Roche? Oh, they'd love it, but it not quite yet going to see the Roshan respawn time. There we have it. It is a short one. There's still about a minute or so before it's there.
But look at mind control. He's in prime position.
They do have the Moonlight, though, to try and close the gap. And here we have it. Revealing themselves onto mind control. Zai trying to get in position for an overgrowth if any sort of response comes through. And here it has. Miracle with the Tornado. EMP and Meteor. GH coming in with a 3-man Echo Slam. Catching the backliners of Evil Genius. His Universe drops the vacuum wall. The Starstorm combo from Sumail will bring down only a CM as Liquid just clean up. Blink fault from Miracle as they find out TZ. Crit to be taken down as well as the triple kill is there. And the patience and positioning from GH there in that fight, ready to jump in and just make sure that EG could not follow through on the commitment onto the Bristle. What an Echo.
I cannot imagine EG's disappointment when they saw Bristleback as a target. They would have loved to get Shaker, Invoker, Lycan, pretty much anybody but Bristleback. You can see how little damage he took.
I mean, I don't think he took any. Look at how grouped up they are. GH, bam, no holding back, straight in, sees the opening, and abuses it beautifully. And at this point, Sumail jumping in with that damage with the Aghanims. It's just not enough with the BKB up on the Lycan. Kuroki tanking one for the team there. And now here we have again. Liquid ready for the push. Of course, last fight, there wasn't a chaotic offering. It was still unavailable. And even if it wasn't, there would have been no chance for him to drop it. So Crit does have that for this high ground defense. No ball. We'll see how much Liquid care about that, though. As mind control straight up forces out the fortification. Miracle with the cheese ready for this fight. Aegis, of course, on Bristle. And how do they stop this? Looks like they may be able to bring him down the once, and indeed they will. So Aegis is popped. Again, with the living armor there, making sure that it is very slow for Liquid to siege in, especially Matuma, you know, he doesn't want to commit himself to hitting the racks. They're comfortable with trying for this slow siege with just mind control, working away on the structures. Arrow will catch him.
Right now, though, he can't really out-DPS the living armor. So what are Liquid going to do now? They just lost the Aegis for very little gain. But all three of their lanes looking relatively okay, I suppose.
I like this little smoke up here behind Bristle. They know that EG's put that wall down, has that vision. They want to try and work around it. Kuroki getting some high ground for themselves. It will be immediately dewarded. GH jumping in with a Fisher. Crit taken down by a Sunstray. Has to buy back. They need the chance for a chaotic offering if they want to have any hope of holding off this fight. Matuma Man moves forward with the BKB, but he will be rooted up the wall. In fact, the illusion just ripping him to pieces, but he will be kept alive. Backs away, will survive that initial jump. There's the vacuum onto 2, but there's no follow through other than the Golem just chasing them down. EMP making sure the Sumail falls back again. GH in with the 3-man Echo Slam once again, sending 3 of EG straight to their grave. Sumail, Sunstrike there for Miracle to bring him out and down. EG, they only have buyback on 2 of them, and in fact Zai, he could be in trouble as well. Miracle moving in, has the cold snap. Zai can't even get off a living armor. It's a dead armor, it's a dead tree, and GG is called. GH that game. From the early stage, the roaming to the later game. Echo Slams, what a performance. I mean, what a game.
That's incredibly hard to pull off too, as the roaming shaker. They didn't have the strongest lanes on the side of EG, but at the same time, GH just made that look like an easy breezy 2-1.
What a series so far, ups and downs, up and downs. Game 1, strong for Liquid. Game 2, strong for EG. Game